Welcome back to the Milestone Moment, where we take top producing agents, ask them their story, and learn when it all changed for them in real estate. Today we've got Michael Tyler Nix with NDA Collective. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thanks, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited to have you. I know so many things have been going on in your world. Tell us kind of how you got started though in real estate, just for our viewers to kind of get a perspective of how you got to where you are today.
Yeah. Actually, how I got into real estate was a unique story that started during COVID. I'm grounded in hospitality, so I spent 10 years in fine dining and wine. And that's actually what moved me out to the West Coast from the East Coast, originally born in Raleigh, North Carolina. And then, after 7 years in the industry, became a sommelier.
Yeah.
Decided to seek out Seattle, Washington. Was working at Canlis Restaurant here in Seattle. And then had a great time hanging my hat there, learned a lot. And then when COVID hit, I actually started driving Uber Lyft 7 days a week.
While grinding.
While actually deciding to work towards that next extension of hospitality, which I'd always felt real estate was kind of what I consider the ultimate extension of hospitality. And so I was driving while studying for my license, getting an immense lay of the land. In those 3 years, I actually drove 200,000 miles between 3 vehicles and over 15,000 trips. So not only did I get to know the greater Seattle area like the back of my hand, but got to connect with people and really learn again like what made the place special, why they loved living there for 20 years, why they maybe were moving. Got to help introduce people to what I had also found or fell in love with here in the Great Pacific Northwest. And then ultimately, after continuing on that Uber Lyft journey, was able to get my real estate license at the end of 2022. And then associate with Keller Williams Bellevue and started full-time in January of 2023. I know that's a lot as far as like how I got my start, but in doubt, that's sort of how I found myself in the industry. And no better time to get in than after the COVID crash in 2023.
The background though, you and I spoke about that, but I know about the mileage, but getting to know the neighborhoods and the perspective and then learning why people move here is such a good point. I didn't even think about that part of it.
It was incredible because it's like you get to know the places and whatnot, but then it's like, well, what is the hole in the wall? And then like, what do you order on the menu? Or like, what's the special park in town that nobody knows about? And like, which pathways to take and all of that. And you just learn so much history by talking to people. And I'm a talker. I'm a little bit of an extrovert. And then end of the day, as a server, there's a way to essentially, as I would say, like read the table. And during Uber Lyft, and especially in a time like COVID, where people were experiencing extreme isolation, disconnection, uncertainty, and all of that, we were kind of in this same boat situation where it's two people crossing paths, and I applied my hospitality skills to figure out like, do they need a quiet A to B? Do they need to hear me talk? Do they need to talk? Do they need to be whoever they want to be? Do they need to be very honest and real to who they are? And through all those experiences, I learned so much. It was one of the most molding times in my life, and it also really prepared me very much so for what the real estate industry is all about. And you can't put any one person or family in like a template and say like this is how it's going to go based off of a price point or a location or so. You really do have to look at everybody as an individual. And thankfully, due to my experience in hospitality and at the levels that I served, it was something that translated very, very well into real estate. But that raw experience through Uber Lyft really did essentially give me the foundation of understanding like so many different type of people and so many different situations that are outside of the kind of more controlled constraints of a restaurant. Not everybody's going to act how they really are when they're at the table, but once out of the restaurant, maybe with a drink or two in them, the real side comes out. And so and then in doubt, it's very similar to real estate, and it's why I was very good at open houses, and why I still to this day, it's how I built my whole business, and it's what I consistently do all the time.
Well, I think you built your business around connecting with people, which is no question. You've got have mastered that. Obviously, hospitality, I think, translates well into what you do, but taking it that step farther with Uber and then kind of getting a feel for people, I think is extraordinary. Now, you've done over 75 million in volume. You've got something like almost close to 20 million pending. What is the and you've told us already a little bit, the secret sauce that you see that kind of separates you from other agents that you can speak to?
Yeah, I mean, as far as what separates me from other agents or so, I can't really speak to who they are, how they do their business or so. I think, again, it all starts within. I have this saying that, so within, so without. And so if you believe that you can do it, and you believe that you have the ability to serve people in a custom-tailored way, and you do provide that great experience from A to Z, from the very beginning moment, you can have great results. It's just a matter of, again, seeing people for who they are and then treating your business in the way that you'd want to be treated. And so long as you are embracing who you are and inside and to the fullest and not trying to be someone that you're not and expressing that wholeheartedly, then those that see that genuine aspect of you or align with you, they will work with you. And that's why it's so important to put yourself out there, because regardless who you are, if people don't know who you are, then it's just they're not going to be able to find you. And so it's your people are out there. It's just a matter of getting out there, being yourself. I mean, as you can see, I wear a lot of different accessories and situations at this point, and comfortably so, because it's an expression and an extension of who I am. And if I can help encourage one person to say, you know what, I'm gonna bust out that old jacket from back in the day, or I'm gonna put on my groovy glasses, or you know what,
original,
just gonna go outside the box and all that, then all of a sudden you start to kind of create this unique energy within the communities that you're serving, and bringing up people in a way that exudes positivity and optimism, especially in a time when, I mean, on a global scale, there's a lot of tough things going on out there in the world, and people's circumstances change on a daily basis. You never know what someone's going through. Again, something I really learned a lot of in my time in Uber Lyft, pick up somebody that's just having a regular day, or someone that just lost a family member, or an opportunity, and it's no different in real estate. It's real life. So I think especially in times like this, we need to do our very best to ultimately be that positive light, have optimism regardless of the circumstances and the situations. A lot of people are freaking out about what's going on in Olympia or this or that, but at the end of the day, we have so much to be thankful for here. The Great Pacific Northwest, I mean, gorgeous. Every type of microclimate out there. We got plenty of rain to spare, plenty of gray to spare, and if it gets hotter, we'll be okay. And so, I know maybe the tax bills will change here or there, but if we're talking about a long-term sustainability standpoint, I really do cherish what we have here, and I think it's a great place to be. And you should be a steward of that message and help people feel that light and feel that warmth. And if it's not for you, and if you align with the people that are ultimately trying to get out and fear-mongering and all this and that, and that's okay. But I would just say this is probably not your market. And
that is very well said. Now, you've seen tremendous growth in your relatively short time in real estate. It's super impressive. Have you been? Are you growing your team, or is there anything exciting that you're doing this year that you want to kind of share with our viewers?
Yeah. So actually had a really cool organic crossing of paths with what is now business partner, Scott Nicholson. He is the co-founder of the NDA Collective alongside me. And he operates the business and has operated the business Eastside Land Broker for a long time. So he was predominantly in the business of brokering land to builders, doing pro forma, seeing what works, what doesn't. And one day, I happened to be in the office, and he came up to me at the copier, and he's like, "Hey, Michael, I hear that you're good at talking with people and whatnot, and so I have a couple of doors that I would love to have you go knock and see if they're interested in selling and this and that." And I was predominantly focused on the luxury market,
Yeah.
but in doubt, I really appreciated the opportunity, and I said, yeah, absolutely. And he appreciated the way I responded. So then I actually went out that day. My mom was in town, and I was doing like a take mom to work with me, show my real estate world. What I do now, like the new level of hospitality.
Sure.
So I was like, Mom, we're going to go door knock. And she's like, what? Like, you're going to do what? And I'm like, I'm literally going to go knock on doors of these addresses. Right. I got 6 addresses. And you don't have to come. Like, you can stay in the car. But I'm going to do this. Yeah. First house was gated and sold already and whatnot. But the neighbor, which was the house I also was going to next, was driving away. Chased them down at the stop sign. Wow. Ended up having a 15-minute conversation. Went really well. There was another home that was on the hill that the gentleman was leaving, ended up catching him at the top of the driveway. He ends up showing me his whole garden back there that every year when Google Earth updates it, he sees his garden in bloom. Okay. And it's his like big moment, and he calls it his hillbilly heaven. Okay. And I got the whole garden tour. We were connecting on this and that. And then, had successful conversations at the rest of the doors. And, nobody was really ready to sell, but they all received me quite well. Right. So I called Scott afterwards, and I was like, man, sorry, the first one was already sold. And he's like, oh, it's okay, it happened. So I was like, but the other 5 conversations went great. He's like 15, 30 minutes in, he was like, wait a second, what happened at this one address? And I was like, oh, that's so-and-so with the hillbilly heaven garden that every year. And he's like, no way. The last 3 people I sent out there have been told to get off the property and never come back. Wow. And just like, they're not interested. Yeah. And you got a garden tour. Yeah. And so he in that moment was like, okay, there's something to this guy. 2 skill sets we have for each other could be amazing. Exactly. And then to round this out and how we really started working very intimately together and doing basically all of our open houses together and as many things as a cohesive partnership. Yeah. I was holding open a $10+ million new construction in Medina. Wow. And at the time I needed some more waters for the open house. And Scott comes to drop them off, and 4 hours later, he's still not able to leave the open house, because once he was in that room and I realized like I could start utilizing him for certain parts of conversation and connecting with people that maybe I didn't have the most alignment with, or like, they were more analytical, more statistical and all this and that, where I'm more like kind of wiggly, like high EQ, that, like it was this beautiful combination of we're able to serve all. And since then, we've had a ton of success being received quite well by the communities we seek to serve and that we are stewarding. And people do, some of our clients very spiritual and believe that we're the full 5 elements and we make a full circle. And so we have a very good balance and very deeply appreciative of him. And in the first 6 months of working together, we were able to put over 45 million under contract. And this year we had the goal of at least 100 million. And we were able to accomplish 25 million in the first quarter, and we're on track to do that, and hopefully we'll surpass that goal quite a bit. And got a lot of other cool things on the horizon, and even some of those things that, like the origin point story of when we started working together, that was in June of 2025, and that house we had held open over 65 times. And have since actually got that under contract. Wow. And that is the most expensive, currently pending property on all of the east side, and I believe possibly King County. Congrats. Oh my goodness. Last offered at 9.875, set to close at the end of this month. And one of a few big accomplishments in sales that we've had recently. But I know this is, again... That's a great contact, and obviously you guys just complement each other, and I'm excited to see kind of how that relationship grows within the NDA Collective. Yeah, absolutely. So obviously the premise of the show, the milestone moment, the moment it all changed for you in real estate. Mm-hmm. Tell me about your milestone moment, or is that still evolving? It's ever evolving, ever evolving. I would say my sort of turning point was, if I had to like pin down when in doubt things really started to change for me, was I used to go a little bit more wide as far as to what I was doing and what I was like the type of properties and clientele I was trying to serve.
Yeah.
So I would do anywhere from my first year of real estate, I did 200 plus open houses, and then in the year of 2024, I did over 300.
Wow.
In 25, I did 127.
Okay.
And so there's a correlation there,
Sure.
where I stopped going as wide and I
Okay.
went more deep on the market that, again, I was trying to serve,
Sure.
which I'm predominantly focused in Medina, Washington, Clyde Hill, Yarrow, Hunts Point,
Yep.
Mercer Island, Bellevue, West Bellevue.
Yep.
Niche properties, waterfronts. The 10 million plus is a focus of mine as well. And in doubt, to serve those type of clientele and those type of properties, it does take a certain type of support system and intention and organization
Right.
that you can't be spread so thin.
Sure.
And so it's what the clients expect. And at the same time, it's just the only way to, I believe, scale and have sustainability.
Right.
I found myself in a situation where, I mean, I would do 3 days from 10 to 12, 1 to 4, and then 5 to 7 as far as my open house times. And I would go somewhere close, somewhere, maybe more of a sunrise property,
Right.
than something like where I felt like we'd get the most traffic. And then I would seek out a view or sunset property for that 5 to 7.
Right.
And then I was going from East Side to Seattle and this and that. And I will always say that you will find me in homes and places that I believe in regardless.
Sure.
And there's a wide array of that.
Yeah.
But my big turning moment was where I really started to hone in and focus on like Medina, Washington, Clyde Hill, West Bellevue specifically.
Yep.
And then again, just case by case niche properties.
Yeah.
I have a great love for waterfront and then and just also really unique custom architecture. I mean, you have the greats from out here like Ralph Anderson, Roland Terry, and many others that, like, whenever I get a chance to walk one of those properties or step into something that's like truly rare and also just built in a way that it's hard to come by these days. Nothing against new construction, absolutely necessary, and we have a great team of new construction builders out here in the Pacific Northwest, providing what the people need. But it's hard to find that true level of like high or old craftsman custom and things of that sort. So with that being said, I would say kind of my big turning moment again is just like focusing in on the predominant communities and areas and type of real estate that you want to serve, and then going as deep as you can and as hard as you can and staying consistent. I still do open houses every weekend, including during the week. Networking extremely hard with not really the clients, but more of the other wonderful real estate professionals serving these markets.
Sure.
There's a lot to learn from the greats that have done it for many years before you, and I think that there's something that I learned in my time of hospitality at some of the institutions like Canlis and the Angus Barn, is the quote-unquote old guard. There's a lot to learn from them and in the older generations. And if you show a genuine intent to want to learn and to want to participate and at the end of the day serve those that they've served for so long in a way that sort of pays an homage to what they've done and accomplished and built, and helps them feel comfortable knowing that they're the people they've cared for and the families they've cared for and the communities they've cared for so long are equally going to be taken care of in the right way. You start to get those opportunities, and again, there's a respectful way to do so, and I care deeply to always provide that and go about things the right way. And you live and you learn. There's times where maybe you missed the mark and wish things were a little different, but at the same time, it's about making that call, having the apology, having the striving to do better next time, and then also learn from those that come before you in a way that I think sometimes, especially as you catch a certain amount of momentum and early success and this and that, you can kind of lose focus of that.
Sure.
But it's, again, very important to stay humble and stay focused at what got you here in the first place and what's going to help perpetuate you forward in a way that you can't do alone.
Yeah.
And especially at this like really high level, with the type of clientele that I'm seeking to serve at the 5 million, 10 million and above type of price range. And also would love to say as well, if there's anybody that's also not in that bracket just yet or like, not striving to be so, I have, again, a huge network of very trusted people that I would love to put them in touch with.
Sure.
And even if there's something that is quote unquote like in line with what I like to do or want to do, but there's someone better for the job, I'm in full support of like, having them take that on or giving that referral or giving that other person the opportunity, because it really, again, it's like treating others the way you'd want to be treated, doing good to others, like it will come back around. And, there's plenty to go around. And I think if we can stop being so competitive in a individualistic kind of way and be much more collaborative, especially as a whole, we're going to be able to serve our communities like we never have before. And, in ways that you kind of you hope or like think are possible, but again, it's up to us to really come together and work together well. So
I love that. So you've obviously connected with people in very special ways and built your business around that. Is there any technology that you're currently using or that you're thinking about implementing within your business that you want to discuss?
As far as technology goes, there is actually a unique, I guess actually a little caveat. Scott and I, my business partner, and a client of mine, who is a very a savant of AI and development and coding and whatnot, we're actually building a software company that will be CRM focused, and it's something that I believe will help assist many, many other real estate professionals in a way that, taking a look at what I do on a daily basis, how I do open houses, and the things that I've learned along my way. There's certain tools that we're missing within some of the traditional CRMs, and so we saw a problem and something that was missing, and we decided let's go ahead and just build what we need. Yeah, absolutely. So that's on the way.
Cool.
I'm not as traditional with like the CRM use right now. I'm sort of again like a go by the feel guy, which is not recommended to the most. Like it's not, and again, Scott manages a lot of balance there.
Right.
But then, as far as social media goes, I think that's a very powerful thing to utilize, even though mine doesn't tell really the true story of who I am just yet. It's something I'm going to be doing a lot more of. And
there's only so much time in a day, right?
Exactly. And I mean, I'm very intentional with my stories and whatnot, and the stories and saved in the highlights and whatnot, but it's hard to find that. And so like I need to do more in the feed. Yeah. And then like it's leading into another caveat that through some kind of unique circumstances, we were approached to have our own TV show upcoming with Real Show Networks, which is a new subsidiary of American Dream TV, but not a part of American Dream TV. It was founded by the creators of that, where now they have an exclusive feature to certain people within a certain marketplace that tell a certain story that they felt would be received well by a larger audience, and we were selected, and I expect the name of it will be NDA Collective, an inside look of the journey, or something along those lines. And to me, I want it to be grounded in hospitality, grounded in like expressing that I don't come from the world of the 1% or like kind of this market that I serve or so, but at the end of the day, so long as you position yourself in as many ways as possible for as long as possible, like there's ways to achieve great things. And I think the show will allow me to highlight my own personal journey while also being able to help tell the stories of other great leaders within the community. Again, my background's hospitality and fine dining and wine, so I want to highlight some local chefs and stewards and dining room staff. And so like Canlis is on the list, Atoma, Tomo, Minamoto and a few other
Saints and scholars.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there we go. I mean, we're already here. So definitely. And really, as many people as I can that want to get their message out there, if I can include them in that, like, I'm all for it. And so when in doubt, people are watching this, reach on out. So
That's awesome.
it's one of those things. I think the more positive messaging that goes out there in the world is how we change the world for the better. And actually, I have two main sayings in life. Well, three. And I can kind of go into the core of how it all started. But the one was short, and which was, your conversation away from a best friend, $1 million, or a lifetime opportunity you'll never get back if it wasn't for good conversation.
Amazing.
Doesn't mean someone's going to give you $1 million. They could just have a cool name that inspires you to go write a children's book that, boom, makes $1 million, or inspires you to get up and go that, or like get through that hard day, and all of a sudden you make a breakthrough moment and your life changes forever. So that was the first saying, and then that leads me into the next one, which was that serendipitous events happen way more often than people recognize.
Sure.
But it's the recognition of the serendipity and then the execution upon it that's truly rare.
Okay.
So, if all the serendipitous events are happening around you, but you're just stationary and you're not taking action, and even though you were going to go right and it feels like you should go left, you go right, and you don't trust that feeling.
Sure.
It doesn't work as well. So helping people recognize that and embrace the serendipity in their life.
Just be looking for it, potentially be aware of the potential, right?
Absolutely. Having that perspective is very important. And then that leads me into my final saying, which is, I believe that we're all individual stars within this Milky Way of life. And if you view each other as the stars that we are, you start paying attention to the stars you cross paths with, you form constellations within the Milky Way of life. And I believe it's the constellations that bring vision to fruition. And if you think about it in one way, shape, or form, everything that we have on right now, existing or sitting within, have come from a meeting of the minds. One person with an idea and another person with a path forward.
Right.
And I think there's many constellations that we are a part of that we'll never know about. Sure. This is a constellation that we've had that's been growing for now several years, and who knows what will come of that. And
cool.
and then it's one of those things. If you don't have that perspective, or if you have a different one, that's totally fine. Just hopefully the beauty of the sky just doesn't pass you by. Right. And it's sort of my saying. It's not to be religious or so. It's again very spiritual, and and I encourage people to take with it, take from it what they may, and just know that if in doubt, you want to talk about creating a constellation with me, or being a part of mine, like something that I always welcome, because cool. I do think it's how we change the world. So
that is amazing. Well said. And you've been our most well-spoken guest, I think, that we've had on this show. So thank you for being on our show, and
thank you so much,
fantastic.
Adrian.
I look forward to seeing the future of Michael Tyler Nix.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Appreciate
Absolutely,
you.
Adrian. Pleasure, brother.